How do I sound now?
Normal.
Yay!
Can you hear me now?
I think that works.
All right. We good? Am I still?
You're echoing. Oh, and I too.
Hey, Tessa,
I'm hearing this.
something we tried, Robin, do you mind unmute?
I'm sorry, I missed half of that.
Could you go on mute for a second? I'm hearing an echo from someone else's computer.
So you want me to mute?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now I'm not echoing. I think that we have sound that's getting doubled out of Robin's computer. Miriam, do you want to talk again while Robin's muted just to check?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're not echoing now.
Oh,
Hello.
You sound fine too.
okay.
So maybe we'll just unmute.
For Robin.
Robin will just have to unmute while everyone else is muted, and we'll just have to go back and forth. I don't know.
Well, you're muted. We can't hear you. Robin, we
everyone,
can't hear you. You're
everyone
muted.
mute, and except for Robin.
All right, how do I sound? Weird.
Now we're doing it.
Right, so I'm just going to mute myself, and if you need my input or want my input, you specifically ask me to unmute, okay?
Okay.
I have no idea what's going on with my computer.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, but now we can open the meeting. And I'm facilitating tonight for Liam in his absence. So let me find my notes. Now they've
I
disappeared.
need to read the governor's restriction
Yes, please do.
statement. Thank you. Following the governor's restrictions on public meetings, this meeting is being held virtually using zoom.com for remote participation only. The public may access it following the instructions on this meeting's agenda posted on the town calendar. If, despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide real-time access, the public can request a recording of this meeting by contacting the town clerk.
Thank you. Okay, does everybody have the agenda? Do we need to put it up on the screen?
I got it.
Commission members have it, and it's on the town website.
All right, so first order is to consider the minutes from the April 22nd meeting. If everybody's had a chance to look at them, or people need some time.
They look okay to me.
Robin, do you want to give us a thumbs up?
I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't comment or vote on if they're okay.
And you're not echoing now.
And actually, that's a good point, in which case we don't have a quorum to vote on the minutes, and we should move.
Oh,
Is it true I'm not echoing?
You're not echoing. Well,
Well, Robin never spoke.
But everybody else is, so I'm going to mute myself.
okay, so we will have to postpone for the next meeting. You're right, we don't have a quorum. Everybody's muted. You guys want to unmute, except for Robin? All right, so next items on the agenda, we've got site visit, follow-up and scheduling. So we've got 6 Haskins Way. Do we want to talk about that site visit? Mary and Don were there, and Robin was there.
Do you want to go, Mary?
Oh, go ahead. Oh, that's the one where we looked at the deck.
Yeah.
I was daydreaming here. So the deck on there is, when we looked at it, it's not close to any wetlands. It is close to their well. But it's a small deck being added on to the back of the house. And I think we didn't see any issues with that.
Right, so that could be approved. And the next item was 170 West Pelham Road. This was the new well. We really appreciated Don being there and helping us delineate the wetland.
That was difficult conditions, Robin had to trounce off into the bushes with her tape. And, basically we could only measure to the running water that we could see on site. Miriam noted the high water table was a good 15 feet from where the stake was that had been placed out there for the new well site. So we measured from standing water, moving water, to 100 feet. Robin took the tape out then even further to 130 feet uphill from the high water that we could make out. It was raining and it was flooding conditions. I'm not sure what everybody else saw, but Robin and I both identified sedges in the lawn, and there were some aquatic plants that were starting to pioneer in. I suspect that's a very wet backyard, and I think the further away from that wetland her well is, the better she'll be able to contain the tailings from the drilling work.
At the end, we also measured one other site that was different than what we went to look at. So she was supposed to get with everybody and remeasure again. We measured it, but it was in a different place that looked like it would be easier to do.
So I spoke with the landowner to follow up, and she said you guys had staked out 2 other possibilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so she was still waiting on the Board of Health, the health agent, to come out and check whether those were possibilities, whether the equipment could come in. So we're kind of waiting to see whether she'll have to submit an RDA or move it outside the jurisdiction. So kind of pending on that one.
I have a question about that, given that, it was wet conditions and, it was raining. Is that the right procedure, Don, to measure from the middle of the running water because it seems like actually the boundaries would be closer.
I think the boundaries would be closer. I think the problem would have been if we tried to dig a hole and characterize the soil, that would have filled with water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that the site that she picked is not an okay site. So there are some other options.
The site she picked was too close. And the other 2 sites that we gave her were further enough away that she could drill safely.
So she needs to come back to us for us to approve the final site?
If she stays out of the resource area, I don't think she has to.
Yeah, she doesn't have to come back if she's outside of 100 feet.
She picked one of those other 2 areas that.
Okay, great.
You'll see what the Board of Health says too.
Right. It was awful close to the septic.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Southbrook site visit.
Sorry, I have the update, just getting them, catching up on what you're saying.
So how long did you guys walk? It looks like a very long walk.
We were out there for, well, so the full people who were there was Janice Stone, Penny Jakes, and Jax. I'm saying that wrong. Liam Cregan, Phil Parker, and myself. And so everyone stayed until the end of the walk with Phil Parker. So that was walking the trail, which if it would be helpful, I can screen share. So Phil Parker sent a trail map that just shows his trail. And then we have one from the walk that we did completely, because I had a handheld GPS with me. So then it was just Liam and I who were then starting to map all the existing trail network, but we didn't finish. So I guess before I go into some connected parts of Southbrook, do you want to see the maps? I mean,
Yeah.
you have the map, but I don't know that I don't know that you've seen the Phil Parker, just the
No, I
ice.
don't think I did.
Yeah, okay, so let me share that.
Did anybody mention, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize he was going to be there, mention that the Historical Commission wants to go out and do a survey?
I don't believe that got raised.
Okay.
So, I mean, this was just mapping. It was not
Yeah.
to make any sort of decisions. Can the commission see that?
Yeah.
So the red line, as you might be able to tell, is the proposed loops for the mountain biking trail.
Mhm.
And this is what he sent us before we went out. So there were places, as you could see if you read what the waypoint points indicated on the map that Liam created. I created this Excel sheet that lists what the different waypoint numbers mean. There were several sites that were wet when we walked this red loop
Mhm.
that we were already suggesting that some changes would need to be made likely. So that will be part of the conversation moving forward. Would it be helpful to switch over to the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Historical Commission has talked about this, and we're gonna make a plan to go out and do a survey. And so it's helpful to have Phil Parker's map, because if we see any historical structures or cultural resources, we may have to ask him to change that plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. For any of the trails, the Historic Commission survey is definitely part of the conversation. So
You don't have a map that superimposes both of them so we can see the relationship between.
Not at this point. So Liam has access to GIS through Kestrel Land Trust. I have gotten permission from the town administrator to download QGIS onto this laptop. I just haven't gotten a chance to do it yet. So I'm hoping that once I do that, I can also start helping with the mapping.
That's great. Is that a free platform?
Yeah, that's the free platform, the free version. So I'm really interested to start figuring that one out. So that's next up, but you can kind of see, can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
I believe it's kind of this loop here. It's this area, which is the one that is the potential trail, mountain biking trail in this area. And then the existing loops are these other ones, which we did not write. So things I wanted to update the commission on: one, we didn't quite finish. So we'll have to go back to finish mapping the existing network. Two, there's an existing vernal pool that might be the one that Janice Stone, she wasn't with us at that point, but that might be the one she had seen previously that had salamander eggs in it. So Liam and I are both very interested in certifying that vernal pool as a way to practice that. But, I mean, it's on conservation land, so it's not under great threat, but as a way to practice that natural heritage certification process. And I just wanted to get an interest level from other commission members if other commission members want to be part of that certification. Robin's putting a thumbs up. Mary, do you
I
want to
can't
be?
see anybody. Oh, I see.
Yes,
Mary, would you be interested in part of that
I'd
site
be
visit?
interested. Yes.
Okay.
I am too. I am too.
Yeah, Miriam and
think
I had talked about when we went over the agenda. So it
Yeah.
sounds like the full commission. So
Tessa, how long did it take you guys to do this loop? I'm just curious how long.
I think we were out for another hour and a half
Oh.
after the rest of the group left. And we also were,
How long altogether?
so I probably 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I'm
That's a lot of
guessing.
area.
We weren't going super fast because I was, taking notes with it and taking waypoints. So we weren't speed walking, plus like checking out wetlands. So a few of these points are, sorry, someone's phoning in. A few of these points are wet areas and marking stream crossings too. So yeah, so there'll be several more site visits to continue the trail mapping and a site visit to certify with the full commission is interested.
Tessa, can you tell us what condition the raised platforms on the trail were in, or the bridge, I guess that's there?
Bridges,
Yeah,
the stream
bridges.
crosses, variable, I would say. Some of them were, which I was realizing I could have been marking that down too, because I kind of was just marking as a stream crossing and I didn't mark whether there was a bridge located. I would say that it was mixed. Some of them were in good condition, but some definitely didn't either span the full width of the stream or had rotting issues. So that definitely is something that could be part of well, I was wondering if that might be part of, so Penny Jake's CPA grant, I think is having someone do that part of it, I believe, because they're gonna see where rerouting is supposed to be necessary. So I think our goal at this point is just to get a sense of where the trails are
Yeah.
to have a baseline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Oh, and I knew there was one other thing I was supposed to update you on. So over here is where the trail goes off property, and actually the landowner has reached out to the commission. He is fine with people walking on that trail, but there's been issues of motorized vehicles, ATVs, and motorized motorbikes that I noticed when I was out there that there were ATV tracks in part. I'm not sure which waypoint it is. I'd have to look, but I also saw some definitely tracks in the mud in a wet area. So he was hoping that we could put out signage that kind of indicated that you weren't supposed to put out ATVs. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little more complicated because there's no language in the management for Southbrook that forbids ATVs. And so what the feedback I got from Penny and from Linda is that it'll have to be part of that conversation with Penny's project. Like after we have, and it can be part of with the historic commission surveys, after we have all that information of where the trails are rerouting, et cetera, then part of that conversation about Southbrook management as a whole can include signage. But I had to let him know that it wasn't going to be a quick.
So in the future, we could make it off limits to motorized vehicles.
I think part of Penny's vision was that the trail use would be part of that grant from the CPA. And which trails would it be not detrimental to potentially have ATVs on it? I don't know legally if it can be forbidden entirely because it's not part of the conditions of the conservation lands, that we might have to get, I don't know, legal help with, I don't know, town council. I'm not sure exactly with that process, but unfortunately it wasn't like a simple thing of like, oh, it's for like prohibited, so we can just put up signs.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that would be,
if there's people using dirt bikes and ATVs out there, you may not need to actually put signage up to prohibit them. Is probably a pretty good chance that Shutesbury PD could check out and see who's doing the riding out there. And if they don't have trail licenses, trail permits, off-road trail licenses, registrations for their ATV or motorcycles, which they probably don't if they're riding that trail, then they're not even supposed to be out there like that. I think the bigger problem is snowmobiles. Snowmobiles use these trails pretty regularly in wintertime, right between the areas you're talking about. And they come out right there on that corner.
yeah, I mean, my understanding is that, I mean, through an ecological perspective, is that snowmobiles are less detrimental because they shouldn't be causing erosion issues. I'm not sure how I didn't talk about snowmobiles with the landowner, so I'm not sure how he feels about snowmobiles.
I think it's actually a question for Shutesbury PD and what they'd like to do about it.
Okay,
I was
that's
gonna
worth.
ask if there are any private property signs along the edge. No,
Sure.
I don't,
So,
I haven't been there, but I know that other trails around where I live, that when there are little offshoots that are on private property, where you're switching from the conservation land to private property, there is a sign there. So it definitely, it makes you think twice about what you do once you move to that piece of the trail.
Yeah, he has put up private property signs right at the junction. But they just say like private zone because he doesn't mind people walking there. So he didn't want to, I guess, make it the language too strong to make people feel like they couldn't go there at all.
so if we're agreeing that this might be a question for the PD, should we put this on a future agenda and invite the acting chief to come?
We could ask, yeah.
Do you want to do that for the next meeting? Do we have room in the schedule for next meeting?
We can we can take a look. I guess that's it. I could run it by Liam.
Okay.
We are inviting the Lake Wyola
Yes.
group to that next meeting,
Okay,
but certainly something to consider.
so maybe not the same meeting. That may not have room in our schedule.
Sorry, I'm just
Okay.
trying to do the minutes also.
Okay. All right, so should we move on to the next item?
Yeah.
So sites, and we have what time is it? 7:30. Oh, we have to go to our hearing.
Sorry, Marie.
Oops. We need to open the public hearing for ZU to Pratt Corner South. It's 7:34. Sorry for that.
It's fine, I'm just waiting for Tessa. Let us know when you're ready.
No, I'm good. If you want
Okay.
to give an update.
Yes.
Okay, so I sent you all an email an hour or so ago, I'm sorry about that, with updated plans for this site. And I believe we talked about this briefly last time when Liam gave the update for the site walk that we went on with the peer reviewer back in April. But basically, the future access point that they want to use for the site was outside of the study area. So the peer reviewer and Liam and I all agreed that it made much more sense to delineate along that area because the whole thing falls within riverfront area associated with Dean Brook, to accurately set that. So over the past month, we got permission to go on those parcels because they were technically not owned by the applicant. And we did that additional delineation. So the new plans that I sent tonight reflect that additional work. It also reflects the minor edits that we made to the wetland flags during the April 7th site visit with Emily. So what's left to review are the stream flags from the original delineation, because we did not look at the streams on April 7th, because we just decided we were going to save that since they needed to be extended. So the old stream flags and the new delineation is what's left. And if you want, I can share the plans that I sent tonight just to kind of give everyone an idea of what ended up happening.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we don't have feedback from Emily for this, do we?
No, she was waiting to do the additional site walk before providing a formal letter.
Okay.
So
Maria, I'm actually going to make you a co-host because I've been getting feedback as we go along to doing these, that's the most specific way I can have just you be able to screen share. So you should be able to do it now.
can everyone see that now?
Mhm.
Let's go to the overview page. So this solid red line here is the original study area. And the future access to the site is actually along Fales Road, which connects to Pratt Corner Road up here. So basically what we did is we extended the stream line for the stream that we had already delineated until it meets Dean Brook. And then we delineated the south side of Dean Brook because it's what throws riverfront area over Fales Road. There's also a wetland south of Fales Road that we delineated. But basically there's a dotted red line around the expanded portion of the study area. So that's what we're going to look at. There's not, we did kind of briefly look at it when we walked by with Emily and Liam. So I'm pretty sure that we found everything we were supposed to find. Like there shouldn't be any hidden wetlands there.
So Maria, the Fales Road where they want to do the access road, is that within the buffer zone?
Yeah, it's within the buffer zone and within riverfront area.
So they'll have to do an NOI?
Yeah, they were basically going to have to do that anyway, I think. Just because of how they ultimately tie into the power lines, because the power lines go through, I think, yeah, they go through about right here. So they were probably going to have to do that anyway to connect into them. But Fales Road does actually go all the way to the utility line corridor, and it is well kept, and it's a gravel road that a lot of people use to access Poverty Mountain. So it's, at least it's in good shape. So hopefully when they do eventually file to do this, they won't really have to upgrade it at all. So it should really just ultimately down the road be putting erosion controls along the length of it.
Maria, would you be willing to send us a copy of the permission to access the off-property?
Yeah, I will forward that to you, Tessa. I have an email that we were provided. I am going to confirm with Emily, but I'm fairly certain that what happened is that the parcels that, or some of the parcels that the extension is on is not owned by Coles. It's owned by the town of Amherst Water Supply. And so we have or our applicant has an agreement with them to do this delineation work and to do additional survey work on their parcels. So we have permission But because there are now new parcels that have been added, I suspect that one of the things that Emily is going to recommend is that we provide you an updated ANRAD form that includes the additional parcels, as well as a signature for the additional parcels.
She just signed in right now, Emily's.
Oh, great. We can we can talk about it then, because I'm pretty sure that's something we have to do. It's not something that we have to do in order to get the next site walk done, but it is something that we would have to submit and get done before we have another meeting.
Yeah, I just saw that there were some other people here.
Yeah,
So,
so I don't know that Emily heard what you said, Maria, before because she was just signing in. So if you wouldn't mind repeating the next step that you just said.
Is Emily here now? I don't see her.
Emily, do you want to unmute?
She's on the second screen.
Oh, I maybe I can't see everyone anymore because I'm showing my screen.
Mhm.
I am here. Good evening, Commission. Good evening, Maria.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
We were just discussing that because parcels have been added to the Pratt South ANRAD, that probably we need to submit an updated ANRAD form that includes those parcels with a signature.
Yes, I would agree.
And that also those new parcels pull in additional abutters. So I expect that before our next meeting, we're going to need to re-notify abutters and run a new legal ad for this one.
Agreed.
That makes sense. Thank you.
So we will plan on doing that. But in the meantime, Emily, I don't know if you heard it or not, but Tessa asked if I would forward the email that we have stating that we have permission to be on those parcels. I will include you on that email to Tessa just so that you have it. But we are hoping that we can schedule our next visit with you.
That's why I'm here. So this is Emily Stockman speaking. I apologize for my tardiness. I never thought that my 6:30 would go beyond 7:30. So I had to quick zoom out of a meeting to zoom in. It's my understanding that the additional delineation required for Pratt South has now been completed by TRC, and the next step is to schedule the return site visit.
Yep.
I guess I'll start by throwing things out. For me, next week, which is the week of the 17th, is completely booked. But starting the week of the 24th, I can move other commitments around to accommodate a majority.
We can do any day that week, Emily. So if there's a day that's particularly good for you, either Matt or I will meet you there. So if Matt's not available, I'll do it.
Liam wanted to come, didn't he? Did you or got some times from him, Tessa?
So he's mostly, and this I feel like is probably more of an all day or like a chunk of a day visit. So I feel like he's mostly available in the evenings is what he said. So I think we just have to go ahead and let him know. He was on this first site visit, so I don't know how strongly he feels about this second one.
Does anybody else want to go on this site visit?
I don't think I can,
Yeah.
but you guys probably can access everything now from the power line road. That's a fairly commonly used road. It's just a long hike from Pratt Corner all the way up to that point. I mean, that's a couple hour walk, you know. I don't think it's vehicle accessible without four-wheel drive, but I mean, that's up to you guys how you get in there.
There's a gate. What we did last time for the site walk is that we met at the intersection of Pratt Corner Road and Fales Road. And that's really where the new flags are for the most part to look at. So I expect that that's where we would meet and hike in from again.
Well, I don't think I can do it. So we'll have to,
And I
Exactly.
might be able to, but, so it sounds like Maria and Emily, you should just pick a day, maybe that week.
Okay, so I'm gonna propose that we pick meeting at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, May 24th.
Okay.
And certainly, as the date approaches, if there's going to be a torrential downpour, if anything else comes up, we can speak then. But let's plan on Monday the 24th at 9 a.m. Tessa, you are correct. This tends to be a full day site visit. Liam was able to visit us or join us on the first round. If commissioners are interested in trying to catch up with us, at some point during the day, including yourself, Tessa. I believe everybody has my contact information, just text us or call us and we'll let you know where we're at and we could meet up. But I did want to offer that.
great. Thank you. Okay. So do we have any more business before we move on?
We would have to continue, set a date.
I know, before we move on to continue. Is there any more discussion?
I don't think so. I think we're in agreement about what other stuff we have to provide you aside from doing this additional site walk with Emily.
Okay. So do we have a date for the continuation?
I was going to request the second June meeting, especially now that we have a date for the site walk. I think that makes sense because we'd have to have our materials to you by June 10th. So I think
What is that date? The
I think it's
second
the
June
24th.
meeting?
I think it's June 24.
It's 24th, I just checked,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Well, I will move that we continue this public hearing to June 24th at, do we have a time?
Muriel, second.
Wait, well, let's get a time. Do you want to do 7:30 again?
It works for me.
Does that work?
Yeah, nothing else is scheduled
Okay.
yet for that meeting.
All right. So Mary seconds. So do a roll call. David
Aye.
Harrington. Harrington is the thumbs up. DeFont is an aye. So we are closing we don't have to also have a motion to close, do we, if we're continuing?
No, it's a continuation,
Okay,
just.
so that's great. All right, so thank you, Maria. So going back to site visit scheduling, we already took care of Pratt Corner South. So we've got two more. We've got 517 West Pelham Road and there's an RDA.
Since the applicant has been on the call from the beginning, could we go to the
RDA.
34 Montague Road?
Yes. And so this is an RDA and the documents are on the website. I don't know if any of the commissioners have had a chance to look at those. And the applicant, hello, hi,
And the hard copies are available at the town hall now.
great. Okay. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the project?
Yeah, it's just an application for new construction of a single family home at lot 34 on Montague Road.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we just need to schedule a site visit. Do you have, I'm sorry, the homeowner, I don't know your first name.
Mike.
Mike, hi Mike. Are there days that work or don't work for you?
In the daytime or in the evening? Is that I mean,
Well-
evenings, no restrictions. Daytime, I can probably make any day work really. So
Well, what are people's preference?
I'm open. So.
Liam
I'm
is
open.
more, Liam is more available after, I think, 5:30, like evening time would be his preference.
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, we can do that now because of the light. So that's fine with me. As long as it isn't conflicting with one of the many board meetings that I have to go to.
And he said he didn't want to do a Friday, so
Yeah, nobody wants to
Monday
do
through-
Friday.
Monday through-
So, let me see if I can find a calendar somewhere. There's no planning board meeting next Monday, right, Tessa? Because
No, it's,
we just had
yeah.
it. Well, what about a Monday night? Which would be the, it's July, be the 17th.
that works for me.
Want to do 5:30?
Sure.
Does Liam need more time, 5:30 work, or does he need more time to get?
That's a good question. I think after 5:30, I mean, if you guys felt comfortable doing it at 6, I guess that might be.
Well, it's still light out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do 6 p.m. I'm okay with that.
That's
right.
okay with me.
Is that okay, Mary and Robin? Robin says thumbs up. Mary, I don't know where she went. I think she's good though. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it has to be 2 commissioners.
Okay, so we're going to do the 17th
Thank
at 6. Great. Thank you. Is it where is it on Pratt Corner Road, since there's no street number yet? It's between
On Montague Road, it's
I
the
mean,
property.
Montague.
It's property just north of 89 Montague Road.
Okay. Will it be clear what it is?
No, it's all tree covered. So when you see the mailbox for 89 Montague Road, it's
Mhm.
just the line starts not very far north of that.
Okay. All right. Don, do you want to come to that?
So it sounds like some town trees may be involved, yes? Mike?
I have not thought about that yet. I have no idea.
Pretty sure the trees that you're gonna be accessing through off of Montague Road are within 25 feet of the center of Montague Road, which makes them town
Yep,
trees.
That would be the case. Yes.
I don't suspect there's any really large diameter trees in that area. I'm trying to remember it. But yeah, sure, I'd like to come just to see the trees.
Well, that would be great. Well, and you can help us. That's great.
Yeah, I think I should be able to make it too.
Great. Okay, so the next is 517 West Palm Road. What is that? Was that the pond
I
that
have
they're
a-
putting in?
Yeah, I have an update on that. I talked to Liam about it. So this was a situation where there aren't any mapped wetlands on the property. And the only reason the landowner wants to put in a decorative pond and has heard from the town that she does not need a building permit. So it's something that we wouldn't have heard about, except that she reached out to us.
Oh,
And so I asked Liam what he wanted to do, and he thought a middle ground, at least to start with, is to ask her for photos of the area, and if we can feel comfortable from the photos, not seeing anything that looks like a wetland, that's how we'll start. So
okay.
especially because there aren't any mapped.
And according to Don, once you put in a decorative pond, it is there forever.
It's easy to put in a pond in Massachusetts, but it's really hard to remove it.
I hope they know that. I've thought about putting in ponds, but then I have enough, so. Okay, all right, so we're not going to do the site visit scheduling right now. We'll just wait till the next meeting. That sounds good. All right, other business.
It's also I put in an added site visit for a tree cutting. It's down the bottom of the page.
Oh, it is.
for add-on, as long as we're talking about
Oh,
schedule.
okay.
That's my house, so
Oh, it's your house. Okay. So, what's your address?
66 Shore Drive.
Okay. Do you want to do it on Monday before the Montague Road visit?
Sure.
Can Robin do it? Because you'll need to, would Robin be able to do it? Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay. So why don't we, it's a little bit of a drive, 5:15? That gives us enough time to get over to
And what time is Montague? 5:30?
6.
6?
Do you want to make it 5:30 to your house?
You can do it anytime. I'm here. So
What do you think, guys? All right, well, let's be confident and think it's not going to take any time at all. So let's do 5:30 at Mary's house.
Mary, you said that was a dead tree, right?
yes, it's dead.
Okay, we'll meet at your house.
You want to take it down for me? Feel free.
And Chair, I actually have one more site visit to, or it isn't a formal site visit yet, but the unanticipated business, the highway department just got me today the list of projects. So there's a memorandum between the commission and town and the highway department that they send a list every spring of projects that might involve the Conservation Commission. You're nodding your head, so this is familiar to you. Linda was catching me up. And so they got me the list today. I've scanned it and can get it to the commission. And what I learned from Linda is that the general order of things is that we go on a site visit to we discuss the projects and see which ones need a site visit, kind of go on a site visit to check. There's 4 items. So we don't have to, and the complication is that for Liam anyway, is that it's has to happen during the day because that's when the highway department is available.
Okay.
So
So we have to wait till the next meeting so that you can get us this and.
yeah. So I will be, this is just more of a heads up. We'll need to arrange a site visit with the highway department. I'll be pulling together materials. Linda said that one of the projects might have an open RDA determination that's still in effect. So I need to check on that. So there's files that I need to gather for you guys that I haven't been able to do yet.
Okay, great.
So yeah, heads up though. We needing to.
So I had one more thing on unanticipated business, but it looks like we still have a couple more items that I'm seeing on the agenda. We've commissioned vacancy. So I know Tessa, you were suggesting putting the notice back out.
Yeah, so what I heard from Liam was that, the steps that I heard from the chair was to resend interest from those 2 people who came back at the very beginning of this process. I emailed them about a week ago and I have not heard anything yet. So I suggested to Liam that I wait until Friday. And then if I hadn't heard anything, that I could resend the notice on Monday to Linda for posting. That was kind of, but.
Okay. All right. So next item was Mass Wildlife Goose Nest permits. Do you want to give us something on that?
Yeah, sorry.
About egg addling?
Right.
What a terrible thing to do, those poor birds.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with this process. I was not familiar until I got this Mass Wildlife permit in the mail. So 3 individuals in town have gotten permission from the state to be goose egg addlers, which means that they shake goose eggs, and I guess that stops development. So I guess it's a not too aggressive way to limit the goose population. And so there's no action the commission has to take. I have passed the permit on to these 3 individuals, and I'm just supposed to let you guys know that this is happening, and then file the permit with the minutes. So, but
How do you get near the nest without being attacked by a goose, a mother goose?
I guess you could ask people. So if you're
I think they did it last year by Zoom, by drones. Because there was some question about
They're
drones.
gonna boat out there and they're gonna scare them away and then they're gonna shake eggs.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So do we need to okay that, or is that just an FYI?
I think it's just letting you guys know. I don't think I think guess it's a pretty standard thing that happens every year.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were doing that. This is at Lake Wyola.
Didn't say a location. I think they were given a form with the permit that they're supposed to write down how many nests and where they do it. But it mostly was just like these 3 individuals have this permit.
So it's not like they actually have nest locations marked on a map. They're gonna actually have to go out and look for these nests.
So it would seem.
Wow.
Sounds like a fun day.
And these are just regular residents who like to do this? This is what they're.
I don't know how they got into, if it was because they had nuisance geese on their properties and so they asked the state for permission. I'm not sure how it started. It apparently is a routine thing that happens every year. So these individuals have sought permission and gotten state permission to do
All
it.
right. So I had one agenda item following up from the last meeting. I was looking at the minutes and realized that I had volunteered to draft a letter to the planning board for the commission to review about requesting a annual report on the Wheelock Tract Solar Project. But in the meantime, I just wrote a letter to the planning board myself, just representing myself, because they were meeting and they had it on the agenda for this last Monday night. So I just I CC'd you guys so you could see the questions that I posed, and the planning board decided that they are requesting an annual report and they're going to forward these questions to the operator to see if they can incorporate it into their report. The operator is a company or a person in Florida. It's not local. And the sense I got was that they've done very little to change the vegetation patterns. The operator said he thought that the area under the arrays was largely already vegetated, though I don't know that is how he can tell that if he's in Florida. You're shaking your head, Don. You're muted.
The orders of conditions should specify what species they were trying to establish, how often and how many pounds of seeds they were putting down should have been in the report. I mean, there's a lot of information you don't have.
Yes.
So you kind of got to wait and see until you get a report, and then you can compare actual conditions to a report. Did anyone mention whether you guys need to get an environmental monitor to do this?
You know, that didn't get brought up. Didn't get brought up. That's correct. That did not get brought up. I think that they were really just trying to get a report out of the operator, and then sort of take it from there. I hope that they have photographs. I think one of the things that would be helpful for us is to have photographs of the site. It's also possible for us to arrange a site visit if the commission wants to do that. I believe the commission back in the day in 2015 did do site visits. And we could, if you want, we could put that on the agenda maybe when Liam's back and we can discuss it.
Mhm.
But the special permit did not have that kind of specificity, Don. It just said they were going to use a wildflower mix. And then that they needed to for successive years, they were going to need to retreat the area in order to get 90% vegetation.
I mean, what do you think, Robin? Is that something that you can take a walk out there and take a look and sort of figure out what they've been successful at, maybe calculate percent cover? That might be something you guys could do.
We could do that. Robin says good. I mean, one of my questions also is what is that, as the list of questions showed, one of the questions is also about invasive species. And what's going on because there's an opportunity for other things to take hold, and there's lots of nasty stuff that shows up around here. You agree? Okay, so why don't we put that on the agenda for the next visit, next meeting? Tessa, do you want to reach out to the planning board and find, or you are the person with the planning board?
I
So
am.
you know how to reach the contractor because you.
So
put him-
it's Jeff Lacey who reached out to the operator.
Okay,
And I'm not sure, I think we would have to go through the planning board to see about a site visit.
Okay.
But I can I can let them know that the commission is interested
yeah,
and see what they think about that.
maybe they'd like to do a joint visit.
Yeah, I mean, it might make sense to wait till after the annual report is in, so it can kind of be a
Right.
comparison, I guess.
I think that makes sense in a way to see if they do their due diligence. I doubt that they will because they don't have any template to work off of. And obviously they hadn't looked at the special permit. The operator, this is the third operator since the project started,
Thanks.
if you count the original developer. So the project's been sold a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, it is helpful that I'm working for both the commission and the board, so I can definitely let the commission know when the annual report gets submitted.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else we need to cover? This is a nice short meeting.
Exciting, right? So yeah, so I put the RDA on next meeting's agenda for 7:15.
Okay.
And then there's the ANRAD. No, that's right, I'm getting confused. Because it's the June 10th is when there's the ANRAD for Montague Carver. So yeah,
Okay.
they're separated.
Okay. So we have another short meeting next time. That's great.
As long as nothing else comes up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we don't have anything else, somebody want to make a motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close.
Okay, I'll second it. Okay. David
Aye.
Harrington? Yep, that's a thumb up. Defont, aye. Okay,
Yay.
easy peasy.
I'm sorry,
right.
Robin. I'm sorry things were so technically difficult tonight.
Yes, you got a ghost in your machine tonight.
And hopefully there won't be another conflict. There shouldn't be.
I will work on it.
Oh, you didn't echo. Oh, no,
You did.
I don't echo. The rest of you do when I unmute.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Night.
night. Woo.